You recognize, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I wanted to ask Mr. McClennican to respond to Mr. Morosky's suggestion that you have one DBQ handled by a single physician to be able to look at this comprehensively instead of breaking it out into separately diagnosed symptoms.
Maybe it have been before you joined us, I'm not sure, but I committed to going back and taking a look at what we're using as far as a DBQ to see if there are those type of changes that we need to make. So I will go back and take a look at that.
Okay, so your commitment is to review it. You're not necessarily committing to that process, which seems to make a lot of common sense to me. If we're concerned about what the ranking member referred to as a catch-22, that as you begin to diagnose these individual symptoms, you no longer have an undiagnosed illness. That seems to be the answer to me. So I'm not sure. Why don't you tell us the factors that you will look at as you consider the proposal? In other words, I'm wondering why you can't just commit to adopting that as the way forward.
Well, I'd like to show up here for a hearing and have all the information I need to answer that type of question, but I don't have all that information with me right now. The best I can offer you is that I will go back and look at that specific issue and the recommendation and see whether that's something that we can and should implement.
Yeah.
That's my commitment.
What's the argument against it?
Well, based on what I'm hearing, first we have to confirm that that is a real problem that veterans are experiencing, and if it is, then it's something we have to fix. So then I would not disagree that it is something we need to fix.
Okay, and I'm sorry to pursue you on this one, but it just seems as long as we have everyone here, we might as well get to as close to the bottom of it as we can. You said you want to substantiate the veterans are really having this problem of these separate diagnoses. It seems like every single person up here has confirmed that that's the case. I don't think that you doubt their credibility on this.
Not at all.
We don't, as the representatives of Gulf War veterans, doubt the stories we were told by our constituents. So that factor seems to have been eliminated. I'm very open to a counter argument to the one proposed by Mr. Morosky, but unless there is one, I think we've got to move forward. We can't, 25 years later, continue to extend deadlines or talk about this at another hearing. I've only been here a little over 3 years, and it does not seem like we're making a lot of progress on it. Not because of any lack of commitment necessarily on your part, but I do think that we need to have a conclusion and a solution to this. And this doesn't solve everything, but I think gets to the catch-22 issue that so many of us have asked about and so many of the VSO representatives have highlighted. So all speed possible on your decision, and I, for one, I'm sure joined by the other members of the committee, would like to hear your response to that and would like to share it with the VSOs as soon as you have one. How long do you think it'll take for you to get an answer on that?
I'll start looking into it today when I get back.
Okay. And when do you think we can hear back from you?
I can't tell you exactly, but we're going to owe some information after this hearing as far as what we've taken for the record. I think we can make it part of that.
Mr. Hearn, question on a separate topic. Do you happen to know what the average age of a service member during the Gulf War was? 20, 21, 22?
In 1990, 91. I don't know that number off the top of my head, but
Early
about
20s?
it like, I'm sorry?
Early 20s?
Yeah, I would certainly say early 20s, but let's think about it like this. If you do the math on it, a person that was towards the tail end of their career could have served in Vietnam. The son or daughter served in Iraq during the Desert Storm, Desert Shield. And then the children of those people from the Gulf War. So we're talking about 3 generations now, 3 generations of Americans. And I saw this, there was an article that came out in Fortune just this week, and they said 25% of recruits today have parents that had served in the military. So it's very possible that this type of situation occurred, that we're talking about 3 generations of the same family could be impacted from serving in the same area.
Well, I wanted to ask you about a point Mr. Weidman brought up, which is how long it took for Vietnam-era veterans to have this presumptive condition awarded or recognized. And I wonder if someone who, let's say, was 20 years old in 1991 is 45 today, or if they were at the tail end of their career and they're in their mid-60s, if we're seeing different symptoms, in other words, cancers, as they get older, as this cohort ages, Are we seeing more critical, urgent issues that need to be attended to? That the urgency that I think was part of eventually recognizing the presumptive condition for Vietnam-era veterans. I'm going to unfortunately have to take your answer for the record because I'm out of time, but I'm very interested in how we can add additional urgency as this cohort ages based on the conditions that we're seeing.
We'll be happy to look into it and send it to you then.
Thank you. I'll turn it back to the chair.
Thank you, Mr. O'Rourke.